This video is about preparing for using the skew again. At the back of the skew, where the bevel is going to meet the shank, can often be a little sharp spot. I like to buff that off. This is a buffing wheel you see here. And I can also use a stone to take care of that. That sometimes leaves small tracks when you're doing concave surfaces, so I like to round that over. The Toolrest is a key piece of equipment on the lathe, and making sure that it's in good shape is going to make all of your turning easier, especially if you're just learning with the skew. Any little nick or ding or hiccup on it can cause you trouble, so I highly recommend filing it very smooth and making sure that it's in top-notch shape before you get started. After I use the fine file, I'm going to come in with some diamond hones. These things are real handy. You can also just use sandpaper though, that works fine. This is a coarse diamond hone, and I'll move on to a finer one and try and get a nice polish on there. Think of it like all your blades. The smoother it is, the better it's going to work. And after that, I come in with some paraffin, just grocery store canning wax, and I'm going to buff that out with a 3M finishing pad. And I wax quite often when I'm working. I'll stop in between each leg I turn, for instance, and go ahead and wax it. It just doesn't take any effort, but it makes the whole act of moving across that tool rest so much easier. You can see it's nice and smooth now. Just about ready to get to work with that. Mounting a test piece, what I like to do is I mount it very lightly, so I actually turn it down and then I back off the pressure there so I can actually use my hand to stop it. You might want to run it against the drive center a little bit so that that's free and not sticking. But you can see what happens is as I use this, I can jam right into there and the piece stops spinning. That's just because I've relieved the torque on there. Body movement is key with the skew. You see how I'm moving just my arms here? That's not the way to use the skew. You really need to be right on top of this tool and get your entire body in the act. So as you move back and forth, you keep that in one position and you're very much able to keep track of very small adjustments in movement. The other problem with just using your arms and keeping your body in one place is so often what I see is that the tool moves and takes up all the movement, and every time that tool changes its angle of approach, it's going to change the way it cuts, which is very difficult to control.